It's a dangerous love affair. Victories within the mile. Almost there, don't give a
So, you know what we're going to do? See you in Fayetteville. See you in Fayetteville. Hard by night.
Oh, goodbye, Natty!
We're gonna run this town tonight.
Now, entering Natty State Studio, the sports media palace of Mid-America, the Wolf of Center Street. Here's your host, John Nabors.
And welcome into the John Nabors Show, here live from the Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I am your host, John Nabors, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, we got a loaded show for you today. It's going to be a little Reaction Monday action, as there's a lot of things to react to from the sports weekend, especially with the Arkansas Razorbacks, as you have a baseball update. Hogs get the sweep over Missouri. I know we'll talk about that with Andrew Ellis later in the show. We'll have your Arkansas update. We'll be able to get into some NCAA Tournament March Madness as the field's officially been set. Unfortunately, Arkansas is not in it, but we're going to be having some fun with that, talking about it, and getting to all of your comments and suggestions and all of that fun stuff here on the John Nabors Show during the show. So keep those coming, and be sure to get on the Natty State Sports NCAA Tournament Bracket Challenge, as we'll have some fun with that too. But I wanted to start the show today, as you know from the title of today's show, Eric Musselman, staying or going. Now, this has been something we have discussed, we have dove into, we have alluded to some rumors, some speculation, and everything over the past, I don't know how many days or weeks or months it's been, but it's been an ongoing conversation, an ongoing topic. You've heard the same things I've heard, whether it's from message boards or Twitter clatter, anything like that. You've been aware of that there is chances and have been some really good sauces coming along and saying, hey, Eric Musselman might be bouncing out of Arkansas. He may be leaving. And when that question, or at least when the reports or the speculation started, everyone had the same question. Why? Why would you leave Arkansas? One of the premier basketball programs and coaching jobs in the country, a place where NIL is doing well, a place where you've had and shown and proven that you can have high-level success. Of all these things, why, oh why, would you consider leaving Arkansas if you're Eric Musselman? There's been conversations about just being miserable, conversations about NIL, maybe wanting more NIL. There's been conversations about extensions and contract negotiations. There's been things about, hey, just getting back over to the West Coast, where he's from, where he wants to be. All of that's going around. And I'll even admit, each and every day that these rumors and things were going around, I started kind of believing, you know what? There's a good chance that Eric Musselman will leave, because a lot of these things may make sense. And there was no doubt that there was a lot of misery going on within the basketball program, within some of the guys on the roster, and everything like that. Plus, not to mention that some of the college basketball jobs that were opening up, some of them were pretty big-time jobs. I mean, I think the Louisville is a pretty big-time job. Michigan is still a really good job. No, they got plenty of money up there. And even after this season has concluded for some, and maybe some more after the postseason ends, there'll be some other big-time jobs opening up in college basketball. So those are always the thing that makes this runaround of the coaching carousel so crazy and so interesting, is not only do you have coaches leaving because they want to go and get a better job, but sometimes the better job isn't always just in your eyes or in my eyes about what is the better program. Sometimes it's just about what sets you up better for success via NIL, because that's the name of the game right now. It's all NIL, whether you like it to admit it, that's the case. But as much as it's been going back and forth, what made it get put up to a fever pitch, and I see you, Kevin, asking why are we even having this discussion, which I'm sure a lot of you are asking. There hasn't been anything said. Nothing of note. No contract extension, no coming out and saying, I'm coming back, let's run it back, let's do this. There's just not been really anything there But some people pointed out yesterday, late last night, that Danielle Musselman deleted her Twitter. Ooh. And how Eric Musselman's Instagram, his profile on that, doesn't say Arkansas Razorback head basketball coach. It just says head basketball coach. Ooh. Man. You know, where'd you park your squad car, Dick Tracy? It's a lot of big-time investigations going on, and those are the direct correlations to a coach leaving. Now, I'll admit, like, if you delete your Twitter, it's usually like, oh, okay, well, what's going on here? But it wasn't even his Twitter got deleted. It was his wife's Twitter, Danielle. She does other forms of social media, but it was just her Twitter. And with Muss having that on his bio on Instagram, as one Curtis Wilkerson found out for us, which, by the way, you need to follow Curtis Wilkerson, Scotty Bordelon during this portal season because they're nailing it, and they're going to give you all the latest up-to-date information. So be sure to follow Natty State Sports as well as those guys on social media. But as Curtis pointed out, Eric Musselman never really had Arkansas Razorback head basketball coach on his Instagram profile. That didn't change. It just has always said head coach. So the point of that is just stop worrying about that, man. Like, sometimes you might be able to draw some correlation in social media moves, stuff that gets tweeted, stuff that gets posted, or stuff that gets deleted. But in this particular case, I feel like there's no reason to. There's no reason to. As of right now, at this very moment of March 18th, 2024, the year of our Lord, at 4:09 p.m. Central Standard Time. As of this very moment, Coach Eric Musselman is recruiting. Eric Musselman is hitting into the portal, and he's talking with guys. He's having interviews with guys as of right now. And it's for Arkansas, to recruit them to come to Arkansas. That's a fact. That's established. That's what he's doing. And I've been one of those who started saying, you know, and where I've been leaning towards is about the possibility of Eric Musselman leaving. I feel like it's more likely than not. That's how I felt for a long time. And for the past few weeks even. But as we know, these situations can become extremely fluid. And from what I have heard here in the last 24 hours is that Eric Musselman and the staff are working hard for Arkansas right now. There's no plan at this point to leave. Now, there are things that Eric Musselman and the basketball program would like to have. From my understanding, it is a contract extension. That is something that Eric Musselman would like to have. Also, a bump in NIL. I wouldn't call it a massive bump, but a bump nonetheless in NIL. That's something that's being discussed. And that's pretty much it of what it's going to take to keep Eric Musselman here at Arkansas. So now it kind of gets thrown into the way of Hunter Yurachek and the university and the boosters and the board. Like, everybody's involved of, okay, so is this what we're going to do? Is this how we're going to do it? Is this what we're going to try to do? Is he worth doing this for? Is it worth the headache? Is it worth the money? Like, those are the things that they got to work in the background right now. But to me, those things are all happening. Those things are all going on. And it's literally going to be all about the next 24 to 48 hours on what actually ends up happening. But from my understanding, the desire of Eric Musselman is to stay at Arkansas. But he does have some things that he wants put into place. Contract extension, say whatever you want, folks, about, well, they didn't have a good season, he doesn't deserve it. Ask yourself this. Like, truly ask yourself this. Are you willing to risk it? If you're Hunter Yurachek, if you're Arkansas, are you willing to risk it of not giving a contract extension? Because in the grand scheme of things, what is it going to cost you? What's it going to cost you? Like, say if it was a bump of $500,000 to a $750,000 per year for an additional 2 years. We'll say $1.5 million. All right? That's how much it would cost over the next few years, say 4 or 5 years. Are you going to let Eric Musselman walk for that? Is that worth him walking over that little piece, that little amount of money? I don't think so. And even in the bump in the NIL, regardless of how much it is in total, from what I'm told, it's not something major, something that's not even worth asking, something that's just pretty par for the course as far as increases go. Is that worth not giving to Eric Musselman? Is that worth not putting into place for him to stay at Arkansas? Like if you're talking about the amount of money, and we'll just there's nothing like specific in figures because I don't know about the figures and the numbers. But just say if it's a grand total of an extra $3 to $4 million, is that worth losing Muss over? $3 to $4 million. School that is part of the SEC that's going to be making $80 million per year just for existing in the conference, that have boosters, that have donors, that have the Razorback, everybody involved. Is that worth it? I don't think so. But John, these names, these things that have been happening from contacts that Eric Musselman's been having with other schools, you can't sit there and tell me that he's not interested in leaving, because we saw a Twitter account talk about him possibly going to DePaul. Okay. Well, let's look at it this way, folks. What does Eric Musselman do during transfer portal season? Like, we'll get to the coaching side of things, but like, what does he do during the coaching or the portal season? What Eric Musselman does, and I think it's been very effective, he's even said this so much to us, especially at SEC Media Days, I believe even last year. What he does in the portal is that he goes and he throws out a lot of contacts to the portal. Almost to the point where you're like, dude, you've contacted and you've heard from and you've offered 80 players. You can't even put that many players on the roster. Okay, so why does he do it? Well, the main reason he does it is because the ultimate competitive nature that it is, he tries to throw people off his scent. He doesn't want anybody knowing who he's going after because, as a coach and knowing how competitive it is in college basketball, if he only truly were talking to and offering the players that he actually only wanted, you know what coaches would do? They'd basically say, well, if Eric Musselman wants him, that must mean he's really, really good, so we got to go after him. And so Muss kind of just throws it to where he's like, hey, they can't follow up with all 80 of these guys. So I'm going to throw them out there, and we'll really just focus in on the ones we're actually truly interested in. That's what he does. Now, the reason I bring that up is because if you move that and you take it with the coaching side of things, the coaching carousel, the coaching moves, and the contract negotiations and everything, first and foremost, Eric Musselman does not have an agent right now. That's a fact. He doesn't have an agent. So put that into consideration. And two, would it make sense for somebody who doesn't have an agent, or at least has some sort of representation, that if they're trying to get a contract extension, trying to get more NIL, trying to do all that, and it's not just as simple as, sure, coach, here you go. There might be some, hey, maybe we can get you to this amount, but we can't do this amount, whatever it may be. What do you do as a competitor? What do? You put the pressure on. So start hearing some things. Start hearing about, well, Muss to Louisville? What? What about that? Wait, Muss is going back to the West Coast? What? Wait a minute. Muss is interested in the DePaul job? Are you kidding me? Is that real? Like, it starts getting thrown around like crazy, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, he's actually looking to leave, because where there's smoke, there's fire, right? For sure. I mean, it makes sense. Not everybody can be wrong. It's one thing if one Twitter account or one random person starts reporting something, but it's a whole other thing when it starts becoming more and more and more and more and more. So where there's smoke, there's fire. But knowing Eric Musselman in the capacity that I do, which is not like we're close besties. I mean, I went to a Halloween party that he threw. That's about the extent of our friendship. It's really fun, by the way. But looking at just what I know about Eric Musselman is he's calculated. Extremely calculated. He's ahead of the curve, if you will. He's ahead of the curve when it came to transfers and to the portal, to the marketing, to the promotion, to the social media. Always one step ahead of so many others in the college basketball landscape. Who's to say that he's not also ahead of the curve a little bit when it comes to his own negotiations as a college basketball coach? I mean, you don't think that Eric Musselman has at least a little bit of an idea of how to work the system? Now, you can hate it. You can look at it as like, well, that we don't want you playing with our hearts and our emotions. We don't want that. And I would understand and I would get it to an extent. But this isn't the name of the game anymore, folks. It isn't as simple as just, we have to have this major buyout and, you're going to stay here. And if not, then, you're just going to work under the contract you're at. Like that's not how it works anymore. That's not the college game anymore. Again, you can hate it. You can disagree with it. But it's the way it is. I have zero problem. Zero issue with Eric Musselman playing it this way. I have no problem with it at all. In fact, I think it would be weird if he wasn't. Because at the end of the day, we all want the best out of what we can get, right? I mean, don't we all want more money in the jobs we're in, bigger contracts, the way we are in? Like, don't we all want that? Of course we do. And if we are to get those contracts and to get those deals, don't we want to have the best things we possibly can to set us up for success? Don't we want to have the best facilities? Don't we want to have the best deals, the best travel, the best everything? And in this particular case of college sports and in college basketball, wouldn't we want the best we can do and the best we can have when it comes to NIL? You're dadgum right. You're right. We all would want that. So don't look at it in the sense, folks, of Eric Musselman being greedy. Don't look at it that way. Yes, this past season sucked. There's no question about it. But if it meant that once every 4 or 5 years you have a down year, if it meant the other years and the majority of the time, 80% of the time, you're going to be going and making runs in the NCAA tournament, then I'll accept that. I'll accept that. But you just can't look at it as a coach being greedy and this goes for across the whole landscape. If they're simply trying to do what's best for themselves financially and for their security financially, but also the best for the program that they're at and making sure that they are at least set up for that success. Eric Musselman did not forget how to coach overnight. Eric Musselman did not forget how to get into the portal and evaluate talent overnight, folks. He is still, to this day, one of the best coaches in college basketball. Top 5, top 10, I don't know how you want to look at it, but he's still one of the best. Do not let this man walk. If he wants to be here, and again, from all intents and purposes and from what I've heard, he wants to be here. If it's true and he actually truly wants to be here at Arkansas, like I am hearing, and it is simply about contract extension in the NIL, do whatever it takes to keep him here at Arkansas. We've seen Muss be successful. We've seen Muss walk into a situation at Arkansas that wasn't bad, but wasn't great. It was fine. And elevate it into a next level program. This is the first time in his college coaching career that he had a really bad season, an awful season, a season that cannot happen once again. So I want to see what motivated Muss looks like. Pissed off Muss looks like after being embarrassed and having an embarrassing year, especially held to his standards. I want to see there. I want to see him that way. Because for all we know, especially with this portal season going on, for all we know, he's going to assemble and put together a team like no other. Talent like no other. And really adjust some things that he failed on this past season. Learn some lessons and apply them to next year to get Arkansas back on track to being one of the premier basketball programs in the country. Let's see that. Let's see what he's made of. But I'm telling you right now, I'm a huge fan of Yurachek. And I am also a huge fan of Eric Musselman. I am. But the last thing that I will ever accept from anybody in authority position, athletic director, boosters, board of trustees, I don't care who it is, it's all the same to me. But the last thing I will ever accept is simply letting a coach go over a couple $1 million. An elite level, high level coach over a couple $1 million. One of the best formulas that I have ever felt when it comes to coaching and how you feel about your current coach, whether it's great or bad. This is the best formula you can always, and this is, again, a little going along with the motion of what we're doing, a little homework assignment for you or maybe a way for you to get interactive. But ask yourself this question, folks. You're a Razorback basketball fan. Ask yourself this question. How many college basketball coaches in the NCAA right now would you trade Eric Musselman for straight up? At other jobs, who would you trade Eric Musselman for right now, straight up, no questions asked? Look around the entire college basketball landscape. I mean, I could think of maybe a few. Maybe a Kelvin Sampson. Maybe a Bill Self. Maybe. You probably have a few others that you could name or others that you would be curious about. But I promise you that if you're naming more than 5 to 10 coaches that you'd rather replace, then you don't know ball. You don't know coaches. You don't know success. There are vast majority, 95% of college basketball programs out there, folks, would die to have Eric Musselman as their basketball coach. Would die for it. The question is does Arkansas have that same conviction? Are they willing to do whatever it takes to keep Eric Musselman as their head basketball coach? Are they willing to do it? They better be. Because I don't care what anybody says. And you Razorback fans, you should know this better than anybody. You cannot put a price on premier coaching. You cannot just think, oh, we'll be just fine. Because if Eric Musselman left, I think it's possible, that Arkansas could get just as good of a coach. It's possible, but there's no guarantee. You have a guarantee right here. Don't ever let your own pride get in the way of success when it comes to the athletic program. Never let that happen. Because the second you do is the second you're going to lose all the things that matter the most when it comes to you enjoying the success of a program. I mean, I'm not trying to say that Eric Musselman is as good as Nolan Richardson. I'm not making that comparison, but I am comparing the aftermath of those coaches. Nolan Richardson was here and he left. There are some coaches that were interested that you probably should have hired, that they hired Stan Heath. They hired Stan Heath in 2002. Arkansas basketball did not even get close to sniffing high-level national success until 20 years later when Eric Musselman arrived. Had a couple of good seasons, decent seasons here and there, but it took that long, 20 years. Are you willing to wander in the wilderness for 20 years? Again? Hopelessly? Thinking that, will we ever get back? Will we ever be relevant again? Will we ever win it? Will we ever see the sight of high-level success in college basketball again? Are you willing to risk that? I'm not. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't wish back when Bobby Petrino got fired that they didn't hire Brett Bielema, the John L. Smith era, or anything like that. There's not a day that doesn't go by that I'm sure a lot of people, some of you older people may look back and say, man, we should have hired Jimmy Johnston in football. He wanted the job. You can name so many examples of coaches that wanted the job or coaches that were let go from the job way too early and way too soon. And those particular programs were dying to try to get back to that point. I know we don't even talk a whole lot about women's basketball. There will be some news from that here in a bit, though, in the Arkansas update we'll have to share. But do you remember Gary Blair? I do. Do you remember how successful he was? I do. Do you remember what he wanted? Just more money. Contract extension. Some other things just to help the program. And he was told no. So what did he do? He left. Went to Texas A&M and won a national championship. With a lot of other successful seasons. What did Razorback women's basketball do? Nothing. Don't let pride get in the way of your own program success. Pay the man. Give the man what he wants. Arkansas needs Eric Musselman. You want Eric Musselman. You may be bummed. You may be frustrated by the way the season ended, and I am too. Fully and completely upset. And it's unacceptable for them to ever have a season like they had. Totally agree. But do not let that be the reason why you want to move on or you're fine with Eric Musselman leaving. Just don't do that. See how it all plays out. Give him another chance. And you know what? If he has another pretty crappy year next year, then yeah, for sure. Start making moves. Start thinking about some other options. Start thinking about some things. But I'm not willing to part on Eric Musselman just yet. I'm not giving up on him. And if he does want to stay, let the man stay. And do what it takes to have him stay. There's your opening rant. We're going to have more of your comments. I know a lot of you are wanting to get on the conversation about Eric Musselman and about is he staying, is he going, or what's the move there here in just a segment. First, folks, I got to tell you about our sponsor here, not only on the John Nabors Show, but at Natty State Sports of Signature Bank, because Signature Bank here in Arkansas is banking redefined. It's a privately held boutique bank that's redefining the banking experience in our entire region here in Arkansas. They blend the warmth of familiarity of a community bank with the sophistication of a commercial bank and the expertise of private banking to deliver unmatched level of service. And the thing is that they are the right size type of bank, because there are some banks that may be way too big that don't really care about you much, or there may be some banks that are way too small that can't really have all the amenities to make sure that your banking is getting done. But they're a refreshing change from those big banks and then personal banks, from meeting where you're growing a relationship with them there. And they're strategically located, giving you the high-quality interactions every single time that you stop by. They're not interested in becoming the biggest bank. They just want to provide the best possible service to you, whether it's for your personal or for your business banking or for your family. They're going to do it all. So check out Signature Bank in all their locations across the state of Arkansas. You can also visit their website at signature.bank. That's www.signature.bank. You can check out that as well. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed with the great people over at Signature Bank here in Arkansas. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get to more of your comments. We'll also talk a little Razorback baseball and keep it moving here on the John Nabors Show live from Natty State Sports. So stay with us.
We not done yet either. So don't be satisfied. We not done.
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember post-game. I guess I black out after games, winning and losing.
You missed it. You missed it. You missed it. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go there with you, Dave. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I like, you know, I didn't like the game, but I'm glad I was able to walk off the floor again and deep inside and have that funny feeling that, hey, one more time, Horns.
Best guys. I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you got a new coach now, and you got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile. Okay? Dang, you guys, all right? If not, I'm not talking. I got that wood.
I'm so excited. Big Red. Oh.
Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, Welcome to the SEC.
Well, Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
Let's stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
And welcome back into the John Nabors Show. You're live from Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate everybody listening in and watching in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. As for those of you just joining us, we've been talking about Arkansas basketball, Eric Musselman, and what happens next. I feel like the next 24, 48 hours will be extremely crucial and extremely important to whether or not this team has their success and how it's all going to be looking back on it. But either way, we'll start discussing that and keep it moving, and also get into some Razorback baseball, because apparently we have Andrew Ellis over here who's been hanging out and has been doing some great job on the baseball side of things, folks. So if you haven't listened to the Bombastic podcast, you definitely need to do it. But Andrew, it was a good weekend from that perspective, but basketball kind of feels like it's on a lot of people's minds right now.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, this is gonna be an interesting week because we don't have spring football going on. We get a little break from that. Spring break, kids aren't on campus. Basketball season just ended, which is immediately when people go into such a frenzy with the transfer portal. And the portal opens today, so there's always going to be plenty of that going on. But, it's always baseball season around these parts.
It is.
And,
it is.
It works out timing-wise, where Thursday through Saturday at night, nobody's going to be worried about the portal then.
No. No.
During the day while you're at work, you get to sift through, throw on the Bombastic podcast while you sift through Gardner Webb highlights or UNC Greensboro highlights or whatever. Every time we look over this TV over here, Curtis and Scotty have some other random mid-major guard I've never heard of. They've got his scouting report pulled up, and they're watching where he gets his points from and all that. So I'm sure there's a lot of people doing the same, but luckily this baseball team just takes care of business. So it's not like you need to worry about them. You just know they're going to win every game.
Well, let me ask you this. Well, before we get into baseball, because I know we got some comments too, but what do you make of the Eric Musselman situation? Do you think he stays? Do you think he goes? Or is it just still a coin flip? Has anything changed for you over the past 24 hours as far as your feeling on him?
Nothing's changed for me over the last 24 hours because I've kind of disconnected myself from it. I feel like everyone has been living and dying with every report they read, every tweet they see, every Instagram caption they see or whatever. So I have not been playing that game along with a lot of people. So for me, nothing's really changed. In my head, I don't think anyone should be stunned if Eric Musselman leaves Arkansas at any point, whether that's this offseason. They shouldn't have been stunned if he had left last offseason or whatever it is. I don't think when Eric Musselman leaves, anyone should be like, what the hell? Where did this come from? That being said, I do, gun to my head, gut feeling right now, I feel like he stays. He's the head coach at Arkansas 2024, 2025. And I think Hog fans should be hoping he stays, right? I don't understand. I mean, you laid it out pretty well there in your opening statement there, where it's maybe you find a better coach, maybe, but I don't think it would be expected. That'd be a tough ask for Hunter Yurachek, who has done a good job. I think just having a coach as proven as Muss should always be at the front. That should be what you want. So I think he gets another year, but I also am not going to be absolutely stunned if in a week he's not the head coach of Arkansas. I won't be stunned next year if he's not the coach of Arkansas. I think he's just a different cat, man. Anyone who acts like they truly know what's going on inside that man's brain, I think they're lying to you. I mean, Curtis and Scotty are as plugged in as anybody. Even they would never sit here and definitively tell you, yeah, this is definitely going to happen this way. We know how this is going to play out. I think it's going to be a roller coaster, and I think everybody should just strap in and stop freaking out over everything you see on the internet.
Yeah, but that's not as fun. So
it isn't as
you
fun.
got people are going to freak out. But we will get to some of your comments, folks. I know you got a lot of them, but we also get some other things as part of your Arkansas update, brought to you by Davis & Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters the most. And Razorback Baseball with another sweep, just another day at the office for the Hogs as FCC opening play. They took care of Missouri at home, and not only took care of them, Andrew, but we were this close to having the Missouri Tigers not even score a run in this entire series. Not to say that Arkansas they were perfect, but it's hard to complain whenever you beat a Missouri team, an SEC foe, like Arkansas did, winning 8-0, 6-0, and I believe the other game was 9-1. Yeah, that's right, 9-1. So, it's hard to have any complaints about the Razorback baseball performance over the weekend.
I think people are always going to be upset about something, whether it's not hitting enough, not pitching enough, not whatever. And it seems like every time Arkansas wins a game, it's like, yeah, they pitch great, but I mean, where's the offense and all that? I think this weekend was actually, oddly enough, one of the more encouraging offensive weekends I've seen from Arkansas. Now, they only hit 237 as a team for the 3 games. So obviously you'd like that to go. They were getting no hit by that guy on Saturday through 4 innings, I believe. So obviously that's not great. And you're always going to face arms in the SEC that are able to hold you down for a few innings at a time. I mean, not every team has a Hagen Smith, but every team has a Mason Molina type guy, a Brady Tiger type guy. It just seems like Arkansas faced one of those Saturday. They didn't do much, but when they got their opportunities to score, they did it. They did a lot of damage. This team hadn't been hitting a ton of home runs, so it was really good to see some of that power come through. But I think the story of the weekend, John, no doubt about it, it's Gorilla Ball, man. It's Gorilla Ball, man. I can't stop thinking about that damn gorilla. For those that are not, don't know what I'm talking about, Gorilla Ball is a term that they use for if you just hit a lot of home runs. LSU back in the day, I remember doing that. But Arkansas has kind of embraced it a little bit, and they even have this little toy figurine that they hand out to the MVP of every game, which I think is really cool. And they have the little, everybody remembers the hog hat in 2018.
Yeah.
Now they're giving them a gorilla mask. You don't have to love it, but this kind of stuff's awesome to me. Gives this team a little bit of personality, gives this team some flair, and gives us something to think about. There's nothing, the Leo meme where he's pointing to the TV. There's nothing that we as sports fans love more than when we feel like we know what's going on and we're like, hey, I know this one. They're putting the gorilla mask on his head because he's hit a home run. Like, that kind of stuff's fun, and I like the vibes with this team, man. They seem very relaxed, and with this pitching staff, on a serious note, you don't have to do that much offensively. I was looking at it today. Florida won the national title in 2017 with a 259 batting average. And that year they had 3 big-time, draft pick starting pitchers, Brady Singer being one of them. That was also the team that Arkansas beat 15-1 in Hoover.
Yeah,
that
was wild.
It was that Florida team. They won a national title by just kind of scraping it together, 4-2, 3-1 type stuff. I'm not saying Arkansas is going to win the national title. Are they? If they hit 259, they'll be fine. But I think that people are fooling themselves if they're like, hey, this team's got to score 10 runs a game, and they can't live and die with a home run. Yes, you can.
Yeah,
hit bombs and strike dudes out. It's a pretty good formula. I like it.
Yeah. Well, I was even thinking back from the weekend, and I had a chance to go out there and watch a few of the games too, which it was, good crowds and good vibes and everything. But it's just nice to see some of the guys, Peyton Stovall continues to look like Peyton Stovall that we were all hoping and seeing. Aloy's going out there. He's getting some hits going too. And, we know about Souza and, of course, Sprague Lott. They mixed up even the lineup a little bit each day, which, can be taken some ways. But it's a little different if you're mixing it up when you're losing or if you're mixing it up when you're winning. Because when you're mixing up when you're losing, everyone's like, they're just trying to figure it out. But if you're mixing up when you're winning, it's because you're like, we got so much dadgum talent here that we're just trying to figure out, okay, well, what can you do slightly better than the other guy? Can you bat a little bit better? Can you field a little bit better? Because that's kind of what Arkansas was doing. No disrespect, maybe a little disrespect to Missouri, but they were just like, hey, let's just try to make this as almost like another, get some guys some experience, try to figure some things out, and get them laid in because SEC play is going to continue on. But they are just they're putting it together. What was it that up until Sunday, there were some pitchers that we're normally seeing that we didn't even see.
Yeah,
there's some guys that didn't even pitch, or at least not pitch very much what they're used to, and that's got to be a great thing for the rest of the season.
It's got to be a big thing, and I think that the depth of the lineup and the pitching staff just let you know this team has so many ways they can beat you. I mean, Cody Frank's one of those guys you mentioned, only faced 2 batters, struck them both out. They didn't have to use Gackle until it was 9-1 on Sunday, where they just kind of got him an inning just to make sure he could, just to get him some work, get him some reps. They didn't have to use these guys in high leverage situations. Stone Helit's a dude who didn't throw at all this weekend, and they didn't really have to stretch any guy too long. I mean, Will McIntyre threw 4 1/3. But anybody who watched it happen knows, it wasn't like it was he emptied the tank. I mean, that's a guy that could, when he's really cooking, could throw 8 innings like it's nothing, man. He has a rubber arm. And so I just think this team has such a good mix of skill sets. But, going back to the lineup and making those adjustments and those changes game to game, you think about it, Arkansas went to Omaha in 2022 and damn near won the title.
Yeah.
That team had 10 position players max that they play. Jace Borfin and Zach Gregory would kind of alternate at left field. There was no, Jalen Battles was a shortstop, Robert Moore was a second baseman, Caden Wallace was a third baseman, Peyton Stovall was your first baseman, Michael Turner was your catcher. There was no, we didn't have to check the lineup every day to see what was going to happen. They got through almost the entire team, the entire tournament with 10 players. They would just kind of maybe sub Borfin or Gregory here or there, but there was no, depth with that lineup, and it was just kind of, that was your lineup every day. And even in 2021, the year before, they didn't rotate a bunch of dudes. Now, this team, it feels like they have 13 guys who probably should be playing every day. Like Jason Jones is going to be going into next year. Jason Jones is going to be a trendy draft prospect, and he can't even hardly get in the lineup. And it just kind of tells you. I mean, Nolan Souza kind of came out of nowhere, and so you got Peyton Holt, who we know is a good baseball player, can barely get in the lineup. Jared Spraglott, who is another a trendy draft prospect who can't even hardly get in the lineup. It just kind of is the way it's played out. It's good to see Ross Lovich stick it to his former team.
Oh, yeah.
When I say stick it, it's not like he had any beef with Missouri. He just went to a better program. But speaking of people that love the transfer portal, his brother is Missouri's best hitter, Jackson Lovich, and his little brother's committed to Arkansas. So maybe we got a little peek at
maybe a family
Hog
reunion happening
it was
next year.
A lot of Lovich family in attendance this weekend, but that was really good to see. But another Missouri transfer, Ty Wilmsmeyer, is a guy who starts in center, but it's like he's struggling to get his spot locked down, and he was like Missouri's leadoff guy last year. So it just kind of tells you this team's at a little bit of a different level, even compared to some of these recent Arkansas teams. And this pitching staff, what they're doing, it's just not normal, man. I was looking it up today. Hagen Smith is the #1 pitcher in the country on hits per 9 innings. #2, Mason Molina. And
that's a pretty good thing to have on your
Brady
one team.
Tiger, just the bum of the pitching staff down there at 16th in the country.
What a scrub.
I mean, geez. I mean, just tells you, man, this Arkansas team's a little bit different, man. If we can, as the season gets longer, we'll start really comparing the stats of how do they stack up with other teams. But right now, it's not even a comparison.
Man.
This is probably the best pitching staff we've ever seen at Arkansas. Definitely the best one we've seen since Matt Hobbs has been the pitching coach. It was nice. I mean, they've had some good pitching staffs.
Yeah, well, it's also kind of a disappointing thing to see the starting pitchers for Arkansas only have 27 strikeouts over the weekend. He had 10 from Hagen, 7 from Brady Tiger, and then 10 from Molina. So, yeah, just got to work on that, guys. Got to get back to where you're all getting double digits. Yeah, get at least 30 out there. But, yeah, I know it's Missouri, and Missouri's not a good baseball program, and they're not a good baseball team. I get that. But to see them continue just to take care of business and going on the road against Auburn this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. So that'll be a little bit more telling, maybe.
On TV,
where they're at.
On the mothership.
Oh, yeah. Is it on ESPN?
Network. Yeah, it's on SEC Network.
Close enough, yeah.
The ESPN family of networks.
Yeah, you don't have to go and search for it when you're going down the line of also live events on ESPN, the app, and going down all the way.
Sift through, you're like, oh, no, not Duquesne and St. Bonaventure. Yeah. Not that one. Oh,
not the games that literally no one's watching, but, so you don't have to do that, but being able to watch it, and Auburn's a better team.
Yeah.
They're a better team that will be able to try and put it to you. But then if you can get by that series, the next two, man, LSU and Ole Miss, both at home, back-to-back weekends.
It's gonna be fun,
man. Buddy, that's gonna be
those LSU games will be on. I think one of them's on ESPN2 or something like that, but I think 2 of them are nationally televised. So if you have not gotten a chance to really watch this Diamond Hog team, you're kind of waiting. These next few weeks are going to be your time to do your research and watch this team play baseball.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, so you have the Thursday game against LSU is on ESPN2, Friday's on SEC Network, and then the Saturday game's on SEC Network Plus. So you get a chance to check it out. Also, they're doing Thursday night fireworks and Friday night fireworks for those games, and a stadium mini flag giveaway. And they're doing a red out for the Friday game, which is going to be terrible because they have terrible reds.
The promotional schedule for Arkansas baseball this year is cooking, man. They got a lot of stuff going on. They had green beer yesterday. Did you see that?
They did, yeah. I heard that it was a holiday for some reason that they put green beer out there.
I don't know what who knows?
Some about some guy named Patrick. But that was cool too. And I'm sure they need to do something if this Gorilla Ball continues to pick up steam. Like do some sort of special,
I bet we start seeing some gorilla masks in the crowd. I bet it'd give it maybe 1 or 2 weeks. This was the first week that they did it, which honestly is kind of funny because they hadn't been hitting a ton of home runs before. It worked out. I mean, the day that they introduced it, they hit 4 home runs and scored all 8 of their runs. They hit back-to-back-to-back home runs. The next day, it's like, I think it's kind of a thing. So maybe next week people kind of know what to expect and it'll start kind of growing a little bit. I've been trying to get that message out on Twitter so people understand what's going on.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is like they need to take a hold of some of the cool things that they do, and then if the one weekend that they don't hit home runs or anything like that, they're probably going to get it taken away and never do it again.
I wait until they lose a game. Maybe they lose that Thursday game to Auburn. People will be like, y'all so worried about them damn homers and gorillas, man. I just want some base hits. That's what they're going to be all saying.
Like, if y'all aren't too worried about the long ball and striking out all the time.
Lay down a bunt, man. Why can't we do that?
Yeah, golly, hit that small ball. Yeah, you're going to lose games. You're going to have it. But this team is just fun to watch, though. That's the thing. It's like, hopefully, most Razorback fans aren't looking at this right now and be like, oh, man, this team's – they're going to lose a game. They're going to win 10. Like, don't look at it that way. But look at it in the way of enjoying how much fun they are to watch, knowing that they got all the pieces and they're extremely talented, and then just enjoy the ride. Yeah. Just enjoy the ride. Just get to the point to where you're a national seed maybe win the SEC West, maybe the SEC regular season, go to Hoover, go 2-0, 0-2 in barbecue, and then call it a day and get ready for a little revenge tour because last year's national seed didn't work out too well for you. But this year, different team, different style. They got what it takes to win.
I think so. And I mean, who knows? We always say like we don't really care about the SEC regular season and all this stuff, but it's like once Arkansas is like up 2 games with a week to go, people will be like, hey, let's go ahead and win this.
We got to do this. Yeah.
Go ahead and do it. And who knows? Maybe that's Arkansas's bit this year is like screw the superstitions, screw the like curse of the 1 seed. Just beat people every weekend. Just keep winning every game you play. Who knows? Maybe this team will win out, John.
Maybe they go 30-0. Maybe they go 30-0 in SEC play. Like, who's to say?
If they go 30-0 in SEC play, I'm going to be sweating bullets during the postseason because oh my gosh, people would be freaking out about that, as they probably should. But
yeah, I would be freaking out. I'd be like, man, this is just like, don't want to do this again. Please don't do this again. But so we got some other news too, and I know it's part of your Arkansas update, but some sad things with Razorback women's basketball. Their season came to an end, but they're going to the WBIT, not the WNIT. They changed
committing to the bit.
They changed it to the Women's Basketball Invitational Tournament. But tough year for Mike Nabors and all that. But here's the thing: is you had a few names enter into the transfer portal. Jersey Wolfenbarger was one of them, and there's a big one, Talia Scott.
That's a very big one.
Who put it on Twitter. So, I mean, that's about as official as you can get it. She says, after lots of thoughts and consideration, I've decided to enter my name into the transfer portal. Just want to say thank you to the Arkansas coaches and staff. Thank you to the Arkansas fan base for embracing me and everyone who supported me, but she is moving on. But also, Andrew, got really sad news too. 10 minutes ago, Sailor Poffenbarger.
No way. She's in the portal?
Sailor Poffenbarger has officially entered her name into the transfer portal.
This Arkansas update has gone south.
I'm sorry. I know. But
we literally said that at lunch today. We were like, as long as they keep Sailor, like you can kind of
build around it, But
dude, so like, what are they even? At this point, it's like remove your bid from the BIT.
Yeah, the BIT.
Because like, what are you even doing?
Yeah, like that's 3. 2 of them, arguably your best. I don't think there's argument. I think
Talia and Sailor were the best players on the team for sure.
The best team player on the team, and then Jersey,
who at one point was dubbed the female KD. Yeah. Remember that?
Yes. And the fact that she's gone, it's like, I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, she's
gonna have to rebrand like crazy.
That's just and again, I know that people can say whatever they want about how much we talk about women's basketball or whatnot, but that was definitely a disappointing year for Mike Nabors, and I'm sorry, when a disappointing year coupled with literally losing 2, those are 2 players in Sailor as well as Talia that they're good no matter where they go. Yeah. Like, it's not just good for Arkansas because they're your best players on a bad team. Legit. No, they're can probably go anywhere that they want to go and play. So,
and they will go probably somewhere else and be awesome. Man, that really is a tough
bummer.
One.
It's a bummer. Hate to see that.
Well, thank God we didn't commit to covering women's basketball.
I know.
And doing it hardcore. If they would just be cool and interesting, then we would cover them. We really would. Yeah. We will talk about anything that is cool and interesting.
That's right.
And this women's basketball program right now is not it. But you'll have to ask Mike about it at the old Nabors family reunion.
Yeah, well, once we get around the whole table and start, yucking it up about where we're at in life and some of the stories that we've been having. I mean, hey, Coach, what happened? You lose some players.
Hey,
there?
So by the way, what about that basketball team? Why do they suck?
Yeah, why are they sucking? Why are you losing? The best players that you have. And
well, that really is tough because I remember down the stretch, both those girls were injured. And it was kind of like the thing where it's like, oh, they're sucking down the stretch, but their best players are injured. Well, now they're gone, so it's like I really don't know what your selling point is going into the off season. And look, we don't discuss people's jobs on this program. That's not what we do.
No, ever. Not like we even titled the stream today about somebody's job. Like, we never talk about.
We don't talk about job status around here. But if we were going to, we would really. It's kind of tough to make the case that Arkansas is going to be trending in a good direction. Like, I don't know how PR you sell that wise. It's not like these women's basketball games have a ton of crowds anyway, but it's like, man, I don't know how you're telling your fan base oh yeah, everything's fine, it's fine. Like, you're basically just saying you don't care about winning in women's basketball, which is fine.
Yeah,
if that's your stance, that's cool, but it's a tough one, man.
Well, it's like, it kind of reminds me of talk about memes, the dog inside of the kitchen and the fire. It's just like, everything, we're fine, everything's fine. Like drinking a coffee, it's just totally fine. It's like, no, it's not. This is really, really bad. And here's the thing, I like Mike Nabors. Mike Nabors has been
I think
awesome.
He's a very likable guy.
He's an awesome dude. He loves the Razorbacks. He's a Hog fan. I think that he's done a lot of good things in the basketball program. and everything. And again, I'm not calling for his job like some people are, but I am like, man, like at some point in time, you got to put this thing together. You have yet to have an NCAA tournament win. And really, you had one for sure year, maybe two, where you that year where they were the 3 seed and they lost to Wright State. Man, like that was a team that beat Baylor and UConn in the regular season.
And it's tough in hindsight now, where it's like if you had a like Sweet 16 run to lean on.
Right.
You know, Mike Anderson, that ended up being his undoing. As you look back at some of his years, you're like, one of those probably should have got you to the second weekend. And,
surely,
you know, it ends up looming larger when you have disappointing seasons later, because you think back to those times and you're like, that was it right there. That was the window. It's just really tough. Look, we're all dumb, you know, as a Razorback community. We're not smart people. So we will get talked into whatever selling point they give us, but you got to give it to us. Someone's got to release a statement and say, hey, I know that all the good players are leaving and we've had another disappointing season, but, and then whatever they say after that, I can talk myself into, but you got to tell me that.
You got to,
tell me why this is a good idea and this is a good thing that's happening and everything's fine.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I cannot live, and I do not want a situation where I'm looking at it and be like, man, Jimmy Dykes has won more NCAA tournament games than Mike Nabors at Arkansas.
It's a tough stat to have.
That's a terrible stat to have. Not only that, but Jimmy Dykes I think he was here for, 3 seasons, if that? 2.5?
The two after the NCAA tournament win were so bad that,
I think his first year was when they went to the tournament. Yeah. And then the second year, he got a lot of recruits, and they all started leaving. And by year 2, 3, and halfway through is when it was all like, nope, we got to make a change here.
Bring him back. See if you can rekindle the magic. Who knows?
Get him off the TV.
He's still around, right? He still lives in the area. Just interim coach.
Yeah.
Co-head coaches maybe.
I don't want to be that guy, but it's like Jimmy Dykes was pretty close to being almost like a Chad Morris-esque type of hire because of how disastrous it went bad and how badly it was. But the fact that he was able to win an NCAA tournament game is what's just like baffling. Like, dude, what? How? How did that? Because he actually recruited pretty well too. But then they're all like, "Man, we don't need this guy. We're piecing." It's like we don't want to play with this guy.
Was it Malika Monk who was like very open about the fact that she was like, "Yeah, we all hated him. He was the reason. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about it."
No, he's like, it was 100% on the coach, head coach of this.
Like, a lot of people put out the cryptic tweets. She was just like, "No, it was him. It was Jimmy Dykes. We hate him."
Yeah, hold up a picture of him. It's like this man right here.
So he got his birth certificate. He's like, "This guy."
Yep, this guy was this guy's the reason why we all left. So, but I hate to see that for the Ladybacks. I'm gonna keep calling the Ladybacks. I don't care what they say. Ladybacks are cool, but
hey, maybe they make a run in the BIT.
The WBIT? Is it? I need to look it up. Is it all in? Because it said it was in Indianapolis. Is it all in Indianapolis, or is it still like they do the home games for the WBIT?
I thought, but we looked it up a long time ago, so we should know. I think they still do the home games, and then at the Final Four, it's Indianapolis.
Maybe so. I don't know. Why'd you?
But they're not going to get a home game.
Why'd you change it to the WNIT, the WBIT? What was wrong with the WNIT?
Yeah, I don't know. I was fine with it.
It's not like it was confusing.
They should have at least put a letter there that could make it a word, like wit or something, like WHIT or W. I don't know. Yeah. They should have made a word out of it.
Yeah, I was about to say something that would probably come across as poor, but I was like, maybe make it to where it's an acronym that says like girl or lady, something to that, like, people go, oh yeah, it's like the women's side bracket, something like that, a 4-letter word, but a good one.
The League of Advanced something
dames. Like, just start going back to like the 20s. The dames.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know. I don't want to do that either. Just try to think of some sort of synonym to a woman, but I don't know.
The League of Advanced Disenfranchised Youth, lady.
Boom. There
you go.
You should just come to Andrew Ellis first instead of just change it to
NCAA Tournament Committee.
Yeah,
hit me up.
What are you doing? So Colson is saying that WNIT is still a thing, but the WBIT is a new tournament.
Oh, so they're at
that's
a thing
not
that's
my understanding.
Lower. I thought I had the same understanding as you, which we came up to at lunch today. But I thought it was like that was replacing it. But if they're at a thing, is this like the college women's version of the CBI?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. If that's the case, then what? Why would you do that? Because doesn't it cost money to get in the CBI? So is it costing? You have to pay for it.
I can't imagine that's what this is. Okay. I think this is just the new NIT. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is just the NIT. Because there is no WNIT.
Okay, here we go. I've looked it up on the old Googles. All right, it says, after the full 68 team for the NCAA tournament is revealed Sunday evening, women's basketball teams that do not qualify for March Madness will hope to earn an invitation to one of two tournaments. The WBIT will invite 32 teams, while the WNIT has been extended to 48 bids. I had no idea.
So hold on, wait a minute. So they didn't make the NIT?
They didn't make the NIT. They made the WBIT.
So they really did make the CBI or whatever it is.
Well, that's what my question was going to be. Is like, so does it like WNIT gets first dibs on 48 teams and then?
Yeah, someone needs to break it down to us, like what number they were.
Yeah.
So do we know if they're going to get to host or not?
So we're just going to read this. The WBIT is a brand new event and is wholly owned by the NCAA, as they just own the NIT for men's basketball after a forced sale under pressure from federal courts in 2005. But the NCAA continues to not own the rights to the WNIT. So they created an alternative postseason invitational tournament to which they fully own and will be able to keep all the revenue. Dude, this is a lot more dramatic than I thought it was. It says the NCAA claims this ensures the NCAA is providing equitable postseason opportunities for women's basketball, similar to that of men's basketball. So they don't own the WNIT, but they own the NIT. So
okay. So at least the Hogs are playing in an NCAA funded event.
Yeah.
That should give y'all some solace as you try to sleep tonight, is that knowing that Arkansas is playing in an event that is going to profit the NCAA. That's always good.
I wish it had, in this article it said who profits from the WBIT or WNIT.
Yeah, who owns that? I don't understand.
Yeah,
the NCAA doesn't own it. Who owns it?
Yeah. In fact, it says, talking about how they'll get all the money and the ratings for all that, but they said also the WNIT, an event with a history dating back to 1969, isn't even mentioned in any NCAA official materials, as it is not officially recognized.
Wow, that is very interesting. I did not know this
See,
at all.
I didn't either. I'm glad that I looked it up. Thanks, dknetwork.draftkings.com, as ones that threw it out there and helped us have a better understanding. So, okay.
That's tougher than
the
I
early
realized.
rounds of the WBIT will take place at the campus sites of the higher seeded teams. And
okay, so Arkansas will host one?
At the Hinkle. Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
All right. Good to know. Good to know. So we have officially figured it out.
Well, thank God they made the BIT, because I remember Nabors, after they lost in the SEC tournament, said something. He's like, this is going to be our whatever straight postseason appearance or whatever. If they had not made it, that'd have been tough.
Well, I will say, just basing on that, then I guess the BIT is the better tournament than the NIT, because they get first dibs over the teams post NCAA tournament.
There you go.
I don't know. Again, we're learning new things. We're learning new things here on the show. But, folks, that is your Arkansas update, brought to you by Davis & Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters most. We are going to continue on with the John Nabors Show, take a break, and come back with more of your comments. So I was looking a little bit at the NCAA tournament and everything. So stay with us here on the John Nabors Show, live from Natty State Sports Studios.
We not done yet either. So don't be satisfied, because we not done.
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember post-game. I guess I black out after games, winning and losing.
You missed it. You missed it. You missed it. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go there with you, Dave. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't like the game, but I'm glad I was able to walk off the floor again and deep inside and have that funny feeling that, hey, one more time, Horns.
Best guys. I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you got a new coach now, and you got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile. Okay? Dang, you guys, all right? If not, I'm not talking.
I got that one.
Big Red, so excited. Big Red. Oh,
Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, welcome to the SEC.
Well, Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
Let's stick my dick in the mashed potatoes. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
All right, welcome back into the John Nabors Show here live from Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Nabors, and thank you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. And I want to remind everybody that here on the John Nabors Show that we are brought to you by Autograph. Tom Brady co-founded Autograph, and he's a pretty big deal and knows his stuff. And he has one mission in mind, to change the fan experience for the better, called the Autograph, where it's fandom rewarded app that allows devoted fans to unlock the most memorable experiences as well as rewards. You can get all the best college basketball content in one place, whether it's reading articles in your favorite team's blogs and publishers directly in their app. You can also listen to the top podcast hosts in the app and refer to your squad and get rewarded together when you get ranked up. See how you stack up across other fans of your team and on the leaderboards as well. And level up status is unlocking a lot of unique rewards. You can claim achievement trophies and grow your fandom each and every day. So download the Autograph app and start getting rewarded for all the things you already do as a fan, like reading the news, listening, watching college basketball coverage, and attending events. It's that simple. So you can download their Autograph app and use promo code Natty, N-A-T-T-Y, promo code Natty. You can also visit the link below, as you see in the video, as link.ag.fans/Natty. No matter what it is, do it with Autograph. One of the official sponsors here of Natty State Sports. Again, it's the John Nabors Show, and we've talked some basketball and even some women's basketball, but and baseball, but women's basketball and the Eric Musselman stuff is what really got a lot of people fired up and interested in some of the stuff that we've been discussing. So let's get to some of these comments. Some of them, I'm sure, are really nice and not over emotional and mean whatsoever. But this one comes from Chet earlier in the show. He says, "Would we be offering kids out of the portal if he was leaving?" And that's kind of the case. It's like Arkansas's already contacting it. Curtis Wilkerson's going to join us here in a little bit, too, and give us an update. Which, folks, if you want to keep up on the roster changes and the movement as far as what the roster looks like currently, and then also look at potential portals and guys that are going to be in the portal, go to nattystatesports.com. Curtis and Scotty have compiled a great list of guys, and they're on top of it for all the information as far as who Arkansas is offering and everything. So check them out at nattystatesports.com. But, yeah, would he be leaving? Nah. I'm leaning more towards no, but this is just such a back and forth everything. Aaron Torres of Fox Sports Radio is going to join us tomorrow here on the show, and we'll talk a little bit about it with him. And he's a national guy that probably has a lot to say on it. But who knows? Maybe by that point in time, we'll have an official answer, or a statement at least, dealing with Eric Musselman. Logan says, pay him, best coach since Nolan. I definitely agree with that. And Will says, if he wanted to be here, Hunter better have the paperwork ready. I mean, we'll see. That's my understanding, is that he wants to be here. I haven't heard anything otherwise, at least recently in the past 10 minutes. But that's going to be the major thing, is just to see. Random Stuff says, I 100% want to keep Muss. However, I just wish that people understand that if he wants to walk, he will walk. Don't harass him or his family. Yeah, I think that's got to stop. And that's had to stop for everything, but it's never going to happen that way, unfortunately, because listen, people are like, oh, the Razorback fan base are insane and crazy. Yeah, they are, just like every other fan base that's ever existed that actually care about their teams. But, yeah, stop harassing people, man. Just stop. Stop. Harass me. If you want to harass somebody, harass me. Tweet at me mean things. I get it every day. So just go ahead and do that. Don't do it to Muss. Don't do it to the family members. Just say, you know what? I'm so mad at Muss right now. I'm going to tweet John Nabors, and I'm going to tell him how terrible he is. Do that. Save yourself a little bit there. Let's see. Justin says, Muss has the highest winning percentage as Hog head coach since Richardson. Definitely not overrated. I don't know who's saying that. And he's not overrated. There's nothing about Eric Musselman that's overrated right now. I can tell you that. We had some baseball talk there too. Talking about the Missouri team. That team sucked. But it was really funny to watch him there. People even talking about the women's basketball side of things too. So yeah, that's pretty terrible. Which also I wanted to throw it out there too. Like me and Andrew were talking about the WBIT, the WNIT. It was very confusing. But Arkansas actually goes, and thanks to the chat for this, because I should have just looked it up. But again, I was confused by the whole WNIT, BIT. But Arkansas actually goes to Tulsa on Thursday to play in the WBIT. So they do not host. They will be going on the road. So wanted to address that. Let's see. Plaque Nabors says, who was this year's basketball team supposedly built around? Who are the possible 6 returning players will next year's team be around? Okay, I'm assuming you're talking about the men's basketball team. I know we've been talking all over the place, but this is what I'm assuming, so bear with me, Plaque Nabors. But from my understanding is that the staff wants 3 players for sure to stay if they can. Those 3 players being Caleb Battle, Tremont Mark, and Trevin Brazil. Now, that doesn't mean that all 3 of them are going to stay, and that does not mean that nobody besides them will stay. Just from at least what the guys have been talking about, Scotty and Curtis, which they just got done recording pod at the Palace. From what they've been discussing is those look to be the 3 players that Coach Muss and the staff really want to keep. And honestly, say what you want about them. That's a pretty great group of 3 to be bringing back if they're able to pull it off and bring all 3 of those players back. Because let's be honest, like you see the talent, you see what they're gifted with. Yeah, Mark had some ups and downs, but there was times where he looked really good. You could tell how good he was, and there were times it was like, man, where'd you go? He dealt with injury too. Caleb Battle for sure. Like, get that guy back. If there's anything you can do, get that dude back. He's really good, and he showed it at the end of the season. So imagine having him another year. And even Trevin Brazil, I know that he dealt with injury, and people have their own feelings on him, but still, like, he's not, as long as you don't look at him being like the stud player, it's like, hey, this is just a nice complimentary piece, which I thought he played better down the stretch, down the season when he started getting it going. Much better than what he did in the beginning part. And there's, again, worse players to build the team around. Plus, I think it'd be great for recruiting out of the portal, where if you can come out and say, hey, by the way, when you're coming in to play with Trevin Brazil and Caleb Battle and Tremont Mark, I think it just makes it a lot more easier to sell to a lot of these portal guys. But there's a few of them that are out of eligibility. We know Joseph Pinion entered into the transfer portal. I should have brought this up in the Arkansas update because I guess we didn't talk about it on Friday. But Joseph Pinion entered the transfer portal. You also had Keon Minifield enter into the transfer portal. And Curtis talked about this on the pod at the Palace. Again, go check it out, folks. But he talked about the fact that the Keon Minifield thing was somewhere from his understanding that he just withdrew from all of his classes and didn't even make the trip to Nashville. Like, just said, I'm out, and didn't even show up. So he's done. So he had that. And then also another player in the transfer portal, big loss, Denaje Harris, however you want to say his name. He's in the portal. So there's that. Haven't seen any other updates on it, but there will be more. There will be more. It's not just going to be those guys. There'll be a lot more because it's just the way college sports, the way it's college basketball is all set in stone and everything. I'm going to put this up here because I don't know who Judah Williams is, but he says, you're a legend, John. Thank you. I'm going to ride that until the cows come home. You're a good man, Judah. And you got a great name. That's one of the books of the, no, it's not a books of the Bible. That's Jude. Yeah, Judah. You get it. It's totally fine. But yeah, we'll talk about Caleb. Don't worry. We'll get to that comment and that picture here in a little bit too. So don't want to give everybody too much hopes. But we also, of course, have, with basketball being on the forefront of everyone's minds, Curtis Wilkerson's joined us as he just got done recording pod at the Palace, which is going to be a banger, probably best one yet, right? Best one yet that you've had?
Yeah,
I'd
since
say
yesterday's.
So. Since yesterday's. Gets better each and every time is what it means. It just gets better each and every time. So,
well, we hope so.
Yeah. Well, I know that you have been on top of it. You and Scotty both have been on top of it for the portals and players and what's going on. But I think people would just like to know, in your own words, if someone just says Arkansas basketball, current state, go, how do you just even, like, what do you look at right now for where you stand on everything, not only for Muss and coaches, but also just for the players and the portals and everything too?
Pretty much business as usual, honestly. I mean, it's a little bit different. Like, it's uncharted waters, for Arkansas under Eric Musselman. They're not playing basketball anymore, and the NCAA tournament is starting, so that's weird. Coming off of a losing season, so they're not used to that. But I mean, in terms of the way things have been going so far, if you ignore the rumor mill stuff and, you know, try to stay off social media as much as you can, or looking at people's Instagram bios and whatnot, which, hey, listen, I talked about it on the pod of the Palace. Like, I get it, man, because people are like starved for something, anything to kind of grasp onto, right? To figure out what the heck is going on. That might be looking a little bit too deep, but no, I mean, the coaching staff spent all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday in the basketball facility, working the phones. They were reviewing film and evaluating these guys who were hitting the portal, and they were doing Zooms with guys who were already in the portal as grad transfers, and that's continued today. Like, it's, you know, I know people are nervous about, you know, the coaching carousel stuff, and it's, you know, it changes every day. Like, you know, like yesterday, based on a lot of the things I was hearing, I was like, oh, I don't know, like, better start really paying attention to this again. And then today, like, it just sounds like he ain't going nowhere, you know? And so that's just kind of the ups and downs that come along with it. But if you think, regardless of like what's going on behind the scenes with all that they're just kind of like sitting on their hands and, you know, like not worried about the roster and waiting for the next job, that ain't happening. Like, they're getting after it. And from what I understand, they're looking to make a portal splash like soon. Very, very soon to set the tone for the offseason. So
would there be a specific player in mind that would be a like splash strike right now? Like, I'm sure there's a few, because you guys got a great portal board on nattystatesports.com, but is there one that you're looking at, or a few that you're looking at that could possibly be already making the move here soon?
You know, early guys who are in early, and here's the thing, like, I don't want to accuse anybody of tampering here.
Of course not.
You know how this stuff goes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, throughout the course of the country. So, like, there are guys who already kind of had their sights set on Arkansas or other schools that aren't in the portal yet that are going to be soon, right? And so I don't like to just throw those names out there yet. Like, you probably shouldn't do that. But as far as the guys who are in there right now, like, yeah, there are a handful that really have my attention. Jacob Cruz, who is a UT Martin guy. He's a 6'8" guard, big-time shooter. He hit the portal. Arkansas has already been in contact with him. I've exchanged some messages with him. Like, there's mutual interest there, and he's probably one of the bigger prizes in the portal early on. So that would be one to keep an eye on. Marcus Foster, who is he's a 6'4" wing from Furman, and so Arkansas remembers them. They played him, but Foster didn't play in that game. He was hurt. He was their best player this season. Like, he led him in scoring. Really physical guard that can get downhill. He's another guy who's entered as a grad transfer. Arkansas has already been in touch with him. You know how Muss is about guys who they've played against in the past. And then a dude who hit the portal today, McKeel Brown-Jones. If you don't remember him, go back, if you haven't burned it from your memory, and watch that UNC Greensboro game where they came into Bud Walton Arena and beat Arkansas. And he's a 6'8" big man. He put 17 on Arkansas. Like, he was babying Trevin Brazil in the paint. Like, he's nice. And so those are three guys just right off the top who are already in the portal that, you know, there could be something to it. And there's a couple. There's a kid from Hofstra. Last name Dubar, Darlin Stone Dubar. What a name.
Darlin Stone?
Darlin Stone Dubar.
That's a beautiful name. Sounds wonderful.
But another dude who's like, I mean, he's a 6'8" guard. He shot 40% from three. He's entered the portal. He fits the mold. He's from a region that Arkansas recruits well. You've got the connection with Muss and Speedy Claxton, who's the coach at Hofstra. So some things to add up there. And then again, like, you look at guys who Arkansas and Eric Musselman have played against and prepared for in the past. And if you haven't burned it from your memory, you think back to that Hofstra game in North Little Rock. That dude played in that game, and he scored 11 points, had 5 rebounds, 5 steals against Arkansas. So familiarity there. Yeah, just a handful of guys.
Yeah, so those are the guys that are in the portal. And this is the question that, you know, we had one earlier and talking about, you know, assuming Eric Musselman stays on as head coach and they get it figured out. I kept thinking that there was not going to be anybody from this past year's team on next year's team. Do you feel like that they're going to be, maybe is there targets of guys that they'd really like to have back, or maybe guys that are looking to come back? Because, you know, if you start really going down the roster, you're like, man, Devo Davis technically has another year. It's like, do you want Devo Davis back? So, like, do you have a feel of who might be returning, or who they want to return if Muss is still coach?
Well, and I wouldn't say like these are the only guys who they would allow to return or whatever. But I know that the staff would be very interested in having Tremont Mart, Caleb Battle, Trevin Brazil back.
Makes sense.
That trio's at the top of the board. And again, like that doesn't mean the other guys who have eligibility left, like if they wanted to come back, they wouldn't allow them to do it. But like those 3 guys in particular, they would really like to have. Now, do I think all 3 of them are going to be back? Nope, I don't. I think if you get 1, you feel okay about that. If you get 2, it's like a grand slam.
Wow.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. So
okay. I would take, again, all 3, which it's funny because we already had Mark says, no, please no Mark. I'm like, man, I would take Tremont Mark back. Come on now. Like
I would too, just like and I understand what he's saying about him being a black hole offensively, which is true.
Yeah, it is.
But man, like the roster is just so gutted that, I mean, give me a dude who averaged 18 a game and just like, I don't know, like I would just sleep better at night if I knew that was already in the cupboard to kind of piece around. I mean, I feel the same way about Battle. Like, okay, give me a guy who could score 40 any night and I can start there and figure it out. But like, if you don't have any of those dudes, then it really is like an entirely new team.
Well, and I don't want to make comparisons like, oh, they're the same player because they're not, but it does make me wonder about, almost feel like the same way like Ricky Council. Like Ricky Council was a frustrating player sometimes to fans and to us, like, the year he played.
Yeah.
But it's like at the end of the season, would you not have taken Ricky Council for another season? Like, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. And so, not saying they're the same skill set, but I kind of feel that same way about Mark. It's like, Mark was frustrating at times. Mark had some problems. Mark was not perfect. But seeing what he's capable of and seeing some of the things that he did do, like there are a lot worse players to get back on this roster to get on your team next year than Tremont Mark. Because if I feel like if he gets into the portal, there's going to be big time places that are going to be looking to add him to the mix.
Oh, yeah.
So might as well make it here.
Yeah, you're talking about, I mean, you think about Mark, you're talking about a dude who was a key cog at one of the best programs in the country, like Houston, and he was in the AAC at the time, and so then he moves to a better conference in the SEC and averages 18 a game and like proves that he's also a legit scorer in terms of also being a guy who played in a winning program and is defensive minded or whatever. And so, like for me, if I was Tremont Mark, I'm going pro. Like I'm testing the waters, and I'm not saying that he's a surefire draft pick or anything, but I don't know what else he would have to prove by coming back to college. Like, what could he do next year at Arkansas or anywhere else that would up his stock? And so maybe he's a guy who's just really committed to like trying to win a championship or something, and that's cool if that's the case. But like individually, I would be starting that clock if I was him. So
at least give it a shot,
right?
Like, I mean, because you can do the whole thing of pulling your name back out too. So it's not like, oh, once you go, it's done.
I'd be really surprised if all 3 of those guys didn't at least like test the waters or whatever.
Yeah. Also, this comes from Nathan on Twitter. He was asking about the. I know the answer to this, but I'll let you answer it, Curtis. The true freshmen that are going to be coming in at Arkansas, what type of impact can they play on their first season, assuming that they arrive on campus?
Yeah, I mean, it probably depends on like the pieces that you add around them, because it's hard to project that right now. Like if you don't know what returners you're going to have and like what transfers come in. I mean, I imagine they're going to be adding a lot of guys who are 6'5" to 6'8", and positionally versatile and everything, and that's what those 2 guys are. So part of it factors in with that. The other part that you have to consider, and again, like, today I feel good about it, but it also depends on who your coach is. If Muss would ultimately take another job, like I don't know that I necessarily expect both of those guys to stick around. That's the thing about freshmen too. Like you've got the easy, like free transfer waiver or whatever. So it's maybe not as big of a deal as it was in the past, but that's another reason why I feel like I don't know if they're trying to work out an extension with Muss. I don't know what they're doing from that regard, but anything like tweet out the Wolf of Wall Street thing, like,
something.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
The show goes on. Like, you got to do something to give people a little bit of security to commit to the program. And like, if I'm a true freshman who theoretically would try to stay at one place until I go pro or 4 years or whatever it might be, like I would want to know that the guy I signed up to play for is going to be there. And he doesn't have to put that on social media for them to know that. Like, I'm sure that conversations are being had between the coaching staff and those guys. And so, yeah, I mean, for right now, I'd expect them to be on campus, but given how things play out over the next few weeks, like they may or may not. I mean, they don't have to move in until the end of May, I guess. So there's a lot to be to be done and played out before that time.
There's gonna be so many players that enter in the portal. Like there will be this week.
Yeah.
I mean, like once a tournament team drops out, because I mean, think about it. What was it? Like last year, I think we even talked about this, Curtis. Last year, I think the first player after Arkansas lost to UConn, first player that got out of the portal was Keon Minifield, and that was like quickly after
It's pretty
they
quick,
lost.
yeah.
And then I think it was maybe a week or something like that. But then like bang, 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 added like Tremont Mark and Davenport.
It was Mark Davenport battle, or Mark battle Davenport. But yeah, it was those three, and then there was a little bit of a dead period, and they got L. And then there was a long wait, and then they got Chandler Lawson, and then they realized that Denijay Harris had been on campus for 2 months, and they got him a scholarship.
Yeah. So do you think that kind of will be similar to this year, where it's like you could see it to where they have like here at this time in 2 weeks they got 4 players already out of the portal like that quickly?
I think so. I mean, I think they really have to take advantage of their own misfortune right now, which is they're done playing ball. And I think Arkansas is in a little bit of a different position than a lot of the other schools that are in the same situation, who their seasons are over. Because at least I think, like, if you're Arkansas, if you're a fan or the coaching staff or a player, whoever, like, this has got to be a blip on the radar, man. Like, you got to be right back competing for Sweet 16s and beyond next year. And so the dudes you're trying to recruit, you're recruiting against the big boys, right? So you have to take advantage of it while their focus is divided between other things. And yeah, I mean, I've been putting out feelers and, talking to some people within the program, and the gist I get is that, yeah, like they want to make some early splashes. The beauty of it is, though, because I know a lot of people are like, well, they've moved fast in the past, they've missed on guys or whatever. That's true, and you run the risk with that. I think you have to take some calculated risk, but also you're going to be adding 8, 9, 10 different guys, out of the portal. So that's essentially an entire roster. So you have to add some pieces early, lay the foundation, like get 2 or 3 guys here quick, and then you can be patient with it, see how things unfold. It's like you said, when teams drop out of the tournament, then guys are going to hit the portal. When one coach leaves his current school to fill an opening elsewhere, then a portal window for 30 days opens for those players to hit the portal. It's like it's going to continue to go. And so, like, yeah, you want to save some spots and some NIL money and everything to compete once you get closer to the summer months. But like right now, they need bodies, dude. So I think make the biggest splashes that you can, but also I would encourage people, like, if you see Arkansas take an early commitment from a guy and you look at, his stats or whatever, and you go, like, he's fine, but we'll understand, like, they need role players too. They need depth. They need all those things. And, like, they need an entirely new front court, for example. Yeah. So, like, they're not all going to be like the Brandon Garrison kid who hit the portal today, like the former McDonald's All-American, the starter at Oklahoma State. Like, yeah, if they get him, that'd be awesome. You're not going to get 5 of them. Like, you got to get some other guys too. So,
well, wasn't like a Trey Wade? I feel like he was a player that wasn't at Wichita State was a stat like averaging 18 and 8, but he
I think solid.
I'm about to say I'd take him right now if you had a Trey Wade. But yeah, so they need players like that, and I'm sure that Muss is on top of it to trying to get it done. We had a couple of people there in the chat, like Hunter and Travis kind of alluded to the same thing, but Hunter's like, hope we get an NBA caliber big man this year. We haven't had one in a while. And Travis like, I wish we could get a big guy in the middle. I'm old school. I want Big O. It's like, I feel like that's, something that, you want all the best players at every best position, but I don't care if you got a big man or not. You just need talent. You need guys that can play together. And I don't know. I'm not saying that Muss can't coach a big man, but it hasn't really been his thing of just like, oh, I'm just going to get me his best big man has been Jalen Williams, and he's really good.
Are you slandering February, March Mekhi Mitchell right now?
I mean, listen, if he could give me some February or January, February Mekhi, and November and December, and maybe even March, then yes, then I'll be for it. But I mean, that's just not really his MO. It's not really how he goes with it.
Yeah, I agree with everybody on this one. Like last year, I kind of defended the approach because I think I understood what they were trying to do. Which was, get better offensively with the understanding that the defense might sacrifice some. It turns out they kind of stunk at both, but they thought they could get more out of Mekhi, Jalen Graham. They doubled down on those guys. Mekhi got really good towards the end of the year. Graham was hurt all year. either way, like it didn't work out, but they didn't have enough physicality inside and around the rim. Like they have to rectify that. I think they understand that. And so, yeah, like I expect them, and I don't know if it'll be, their projected starting center or if it'll be a dude who is big and strong and physical, who can come in off the bench and, knock people around a little bit. But I expect him to do that. And I mean, an unfair tease, like there's, like I was saying earlier, like certain guys who maybe are not available yet that will come available. There's one in particular right now that's on my mind that goes to a school in the Midwest who will be very high on the Hogs when he enters, who kind of fits that mold of, you might look at him right away and be like, okay, fine, but like maybe we could still do a little bit better or whatever. Oh, he's not an All-American, but could be a really good fit, and I think they got a good shot at getting him.
Yeah.
And when he comes available, I'll tell you exactly who it is.
You will point him out. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I also think, too, like, going back to the whole players and getting the right ones. Hey, you had players out of the transfer portal this past year that had stats that were out the wazoo, and look what the years it gave you. So just because they had a bunch of numbers where they previous went doesn't mean the season's going to be great. Because even I think back to some of the other portal guys. I know that the year we brought up Trey Wade, but I don't think that even Aldis Toney had like incredible numbers at Pitt. I think he's maybe averaging double-digit points.
Yeah,
but nothing.
Fine.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. In fact, Amude was really the only one that was like in that 18-point range and 8 rebounds, but he was at Montana State?
South Dakota.
Or South Dakota. So, you had him. Chris Likes was out hurt for a year, and I know he didn't pan out, but still, the point is like even a lot of the transfers you've gotten and some of your most effective transfers or some of the best transfers that you had, like Justin Smith wasn't even a guy at Indiana that was a stat stuffer.
Right.
Yeah.
And like even Jalen Tate at Northern Kentucky, like his numbers were fine, but he wasn't, big time guy. Like on paper, the best transfer in that class is Vance Jackson, in terms of stats. And that didn't work out for him. So,
oh, man. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's true. Him and who's the other transfer? It was him, Jalen Tate, Justin Smith.
It was him, Tate, and Smith that year.
That was only 3?
Yeah, because they had like Vanover sat and JD Note sat,
right.
and then they were both
That's
eligible.
Right.
And then they had the Arkansas kids, the freshmen.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Pretty solid team, but yeah, it
was a good team.
Take a lot of them, but yeah. So the whole point is don't look at the stats only when it comes to transfers because it doesn't always mean something. So, well, Curse, before we let you get out of here, give a little tease because I know you got the pot at the Palace, just got done recording. So when people go over there and listen to it or watch it today, what are they going to get?
Yeah, a much more detailed version of what we just talked about, really. But no, I mean, we talked about Muss a little bit and that situation, but then. Like new contacts that Arkansas has made in the portal. So like some of that is starting to come to light today. We'll get a lot more of that, I think, in the next few days because today, like you're going to have 500 plus kids hit the portal. And then the next few days is when you hear, okay, they've heard from these guys. And then you hear that they're setting up visits or where the interest is. So like there's a process to it. So not as much on that end today, but a little bit of that. And then guys who, like if you've been listening to the pod at the Palace, we've had this big board rolling for weeks, months even. And so some of those guys who are on there are starting to come available. So that makes us feel like we know what we're talking about, which is always a good thing. And we would expect Arkansas to be, involved with those guys. But no, we had a little fun with it, man. Like we kind of identified 3 guys that we're paying really close attention to right now, who are already in the portal. Just took a look at some of the dudes here on opening day who we really like and who kind of fit the mold and could be good pieces for Arkansas. So.
It's going to be a great one. So I know you guys are staying busy too with
definitely that.
Yeah, keep those tweet notifications turned on, folks. Yeah, keep that going because it's a busy time of year in the portal. But yes, be sure to check out the pod at the Palace and nattystatesports.com for all the updates when it comes to portal season and everything too. So, but we'll continue to give you updates on that as they come around. But before we take a break, I want to tell everybody here at the John Nabors Show, as well as on Natty State Sports, because we have a lot of things that we are very proud of here when it comes to some of our biggest sponsors. But one of them, of course, being Alumni Hall here in Fayetteville. If you check them out in store right there on College, that's great because you can see all the things that they have, all the great things that they have. But if you go to the website, nattystatesports.com/alumni hall, you can see their entire inventory ready and rearing for you to check out there and to see all the great different apparel items that they have because baseball season's in full swing. It's not today very warm, but it is getting warmer. So for those of you who are wanting your baseball gear, whether it's baseball jerseys, maybe it's a baseball cap, maybe it's not a nice golf polo shirt. They got it all over there at Alumni Hall. And they also have things not only for men, but for the women, for the children, for the pets. They got decorations. They have everything. So for when it comes to your Razorback apparel and your Razorback lifestyle and your Razorback experience, you got to check out Alumni Hall at nattystatesports.com/Alumni Hall. You can also visit them in store there at 3417 North College Avenue in Fayetteville. But again, a lot of you may be making the trips up here. You can't get to Fayetteville, can't get there to check it out. Use their website, nattystatesports.com/Alumni Hall. We will take another break when we come back with more of the John Nabors Show here live from Natty State Sports Studios. So stay with us.
We not done yet either. So don't be satisfied because we not done.
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember post game. I guess I black out after games, winning and losing.
You missed it. You missed it. You missed it. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go there with you, Dave. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't like the game, but I'm glad I was able to walk off the floor again and deep inside and have that funny feeling that, hey, one more time, Horns.
Best guys, I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you got a new coach now, and you got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile. Okay? Dang, you guys, all right? If not, I'm not talking.
I got that one.
I'm so excited. Big Red. Oh.
Guys, I got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, welcome to the SEC.
Well, Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
Let's stick my dick in the mashed potato. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
All right, welcome back into the John Nabors Show. You're live from Natty State Sports Studios. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in here on this beautiful day in the great state of Arkansas. Talking a lot of Razorback basketball and some of the craziness going on with the transfer portal that will be happening and will be taking place, as well as the coaching carousel, but hopefully not for Arkansas. Hopefully it all sticks there and stays the same. Also, wanted to give everybody a heads up that for those of you listening and watching in, we do have an official Natty State Sports Bracket Challenge on ESPN.com. Now, we tweeted out the links. Should have put out the link out here on the show, but that's okay because you'll be able to check it out anyways. But yeah, go to our social media on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'll have the links out there. And if you go to ESPN.com and then the Bracket Challenge and just type in Natty State Sports, you'll be able to see it there and get in on the challenge because games start this week. So for those of you who are wondering what do you get if the challenge, well, we're putting it together as far as the official prize pack, but just know it's going to be awesome because we'll have things like apparel, gift cards, tickets, things of that nature, stuff like that. But no, we're going to put it all together. We'll have an official thing. But so you're not playing for nothing. We want to do a first, second, and third place winner too. So even if you don't win the whole thing, you still are able to get a prize out of if you finish in the top three. We're all about gold, silver, and bronze. We're very Olympic people here. So yeah, get in on the official Natty State Sports Bracket Challenge because I'm sure you're not doing many bracket challenges at all at this point in time. I'm sure that's not happening at all. But yeah, in fact, I wanted to kind of talk about that with, I know Arkansas's not in the tournament and it sucks. Like we all get it. We all understand it. And it's really, really annoying. But I will say yesterday we got a chance to check out the bracket and when it's officially released, seeing the 1 seeds is UConn, Houston, Purdue, and North Carolina. Going through some of the games, I'll admit, like, it's so funny. I looked at the tournament overall and looked at some of these games, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I guess. Like, I see, as far as just the matchups in the first round, which I know a lot of times it's not going to be that case because it's usually the highest of high seeds against the lowest of low seeds, except for, the 8-9 games and everything. But overall, there really wasn't a whole lot of games that just blew my mind like, ooh, buddy, that's going to be a tough one to call. I will say, though, that the Nebraska-Texas A&M one interests me. That's the 8-9 game. I think Nebraska wins that. I don't think Texas A&M, I don't even think they should have been in the NCAA tournament to begin with. Also don't think they're a very good team. But I don't know. It was weird because they were a bubble team by Joe Lunardi entering into the SEC tournament. They did win a few games. But it's just interesting to me how you go from being a bubble team and then a couple days later, because you won 2 games against not great opponents, bam, you're suddenly in the NCAA tournament as a 9 seed. Doesn't make much sense, but that's one to look out for. I think in that game, I think the James Madison, Wisconsin game, sneaky good. That's a 5-12. They're always about the 12 seed upsetting a 5 seed. That might be one to watch. But also Gonzaga and the Fighting Will Wades, McNeese. That one's really going to be fun. I think on our Natty State Sports official bracket we put together with our fathead over there, we had it to where McNeese was upsetting Gonzaga, if you want to call it an upset. But I like that matchup too. And the Mississippi State and Michigan State one's weird. I have Mississippi State winning it. I think we do too. But that one was just a weird, like, Michigan State's not good. Everyone that says, was it John Rothstein goes January, February, Tom Izzo, April. It's like, no, not really. Not so much anymore. But yeah, that's another sneaky good one. Tennessee, the SEC teams, for those you're wondering, the highest seed, of course, is Tennessee. They got the 2 seed in the Midwest Purdue region there. Kentucky was a 3 seed, not surprising. Alabama a 4 seed, as well as Auburn being a 4 seed. Texas A&M a 9 seed. Mississippi State an 8 seed. And that was it as far as for the SEC and the representation. Oh, and South Carolina, South Carolina. Can't forget them. 6 seed as they will be playing Oregon. So we'll see how the SEC plays out. But overall, I liked it. I liked the tournament. But, let me rephrase it. I said that there wasn't a lot of matchups that make me go, but that usually means that all the matchups are going to be outstanding and the games are going to be insane and incredible and overall great, which is always so fun. I love March Madness. I know Arkansas not being in it sucks, but, dude, I love March Madness so much. It's so much fun to watch. Like, on Thursday, like here at our office at Natty State Sports, and I know you'll probably be doing it at your office, just turning on the TV, 11 o'clock in the morning, and there is college basketball all day long. It's like having NFL Red Zone every day. That's what it feels like to me. You just got game after game after game, games going on at the same time. You got the different octo boxes. Every TV's got a different game on, and you're talking about all these different crazy endings and specials, so I can't wait. It's going to be fun. Even though Arkansas's not in it, it's still going to be a lot of fun, that's for sure. So, again, get in on the Natty State Sports Bracket Challenge here on ESPN.com. Just search Natty State Sports. A few of you who are coming into the comments section with a couple of thoughts. This comes from a Rabbit Sports fan. It says, I like Bayfall, but can he bulk up enough to sophomore year to be effective in the SEC? I'll say this, Rabbit Sports fans. I think he can, but I don't think he's going to be here next year. It's just a reckless assumption. I don't think Bayfall is going to be returning next year to Arkansas. Just saying. But yes, maybe. Maybe he could do that. David says, is there a show scheduled somewhere? I haven't found one. Talking about Pod at the Palace. So Pod at the Palace, you can just subscribe on our YouTube page or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. You can subscribe to that for Pod at the Palace. But this week, it's probably going to be an everyday occurrence with Curtis and Scotty. So just check it out. They're doing a great job. They're killing it. And so each and every day, they may be putting out a Pod at the Palace. So just go to our social medias, go to our YouTube page, subscribe to it there too, in the podcast channel. There's going to be plenty of it there too. Let's see. Steven and Louisa, lover of one another. No one could have won a national championship with Muss's bench players. That is false. That is false. Sorry, that's just not true. Mr. Bloodline says, just got here. Did I miss the must stay or talk go? Or did I miss, if I can read, did I miss the must stay or go talk? What does John think? Well, Mr. Bloodline, you can always scroll back to the very beginning and hear the opening rant that I had. But to summarize it, I think he stays as of right now. But it's a wild and crazy deal. And it's not just me. There's no national media people. There's no local media people. There's nobody that actually knows one way or the other for sure, for certainty, this is what happened. But right now, if you're wanting my opinion, I think Muss stays as of right now. As if this time, Eric Musselman stays here at Arkansas. All right. See, man, this show's been going by fast, but I love it. I love the fact that we've been getting after it and a lot of great comments and some baseball talk, some basketball talk, and some overall just wild experiences and some articles too. But it's the best time of the year when it comes to the NCAA tournament. I mean, you can't sit there and tell me that whenever you hear, I guess it's on CBS, TNT, TBS, and True TV. Yes, you know where True TV is at. Don't be dumb and ask, because you know. But when those games, it's all on those games, and every single time, no matter where you're turning it, the song that you hear more than anything, come on, does that not get you hyped up? Maybe not the version I did, but it's a great song. It just gives you so much happiness. Everyone's got tournament brackets. The betting side of things is going wild. I love the NCAA tournament. I think I've only won bracket challenge because I'm one of those people too. Like, and this is another debate that's like the sports talk radio stuff. It's like, oh, do you do one bracket or several brackets? But I've gotten to the point to where I used to do different ones, but now I'm doing just this one just to make it easy, man. Because it's just, I don't feel like I can. I feel like it's lame if you like brag or talk about how you won a bracket challenge when you filled out 20 different brackets. Like that's lame. I'd rather like, hey, and also it's like if I win one, then I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm good across the whole board, and I'm probably going to win all of them. So I like that. But yeah, I love bracket challenges. You got to fill out one bracket, call it good, be home for dinner, and that's it. So, but yeah, keep those comments coming, folks, as we'll have some things to get into here as well. Hey, did y'all see this? Because we got some funny stories too that I definitely want to bring up. But want to remind everybody that here on the John Nabors Show, we are brought to you by Superior Contracting and Development out there in Valonia. Even though they're in Valonia, they are statewide here in the entire Natty State sports way of state of Arkansas. Call it the Natty State, natural state, Arkansas. You get it. Licensed residential and commercial contractor specializing in all aspects of home building and remodeling. They handle everything from fencing to drainage to additions of remodeling or existing your structure, all the way up to land development and ground up construction too. So if you're looking for a deck, you're looking for a pool, they can help you out. If you're looking to tear down a couple of the bedrooms and just make it into one big man cave, they can help you out with that too. So they do it all. And I know with it getting warmer and that time of year, especially with the rates being as high as they are for new houses, don't buy a new house. Just do construction on your current setup and in your current landscape. And you can call them today at 501-453-3053. That's 501-453-3053 for all of your needs when it comes to interior and exterior construction. You can visit them at superiorarc.com and email them, contracting@superiorark.com. No matter what it is, do it with Superior Contracting and Development here in the state of Arkansas at 501-453-3053. We'll take a commercial break and come back with, hey, did y'all see this? As well as more of your comments. So stay with us in the final segment here on the John Nabors Show, live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
We not done yet either. So don't be satisfied because we not done.
I mean, honestly, I don't really remember post-game. I guess I black out after games, winning and losing.
You missed it. You missed it. You missed it. Just tell me you missed it. I'm not going to go there with you, Dave. Why not?
And that will be the last question I answer with that hat on.
Oh, shoot.
That is why Arkansas is fantastic.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I didn't like the game, but I'm glad I was able to walk off the floor again and deep inside and have that funny feeling that, hey, one more time, Horn.
Best guys. I know it's a tough time for you. The coach is gone, but you got a new coach now, and you got to listen to what he says. Okay, I know you're thinking, oh, who is this new guy? Where's the other guy that crashed the motorcycle? We like him better. He was cool or whatever. Forget about all that. Listen to the new coach and get out there and win some games.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You guys act like it's... Pick it up a little bit. Okay? Get your chin up. Smile. Smile. Okay? Dang, you guys, all right? If not, I'm not talking.
I got that one.
Red, so excited. Big Red. Oh.
Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
I was a teacher today. Told those boys, welcome to the SEC.
Well, Fayetteville is 1,843 miles away, but the call of the Hogs can be heard all the way to San Francisco.
I'm gonna stick my dick in the mashed potato. Go Hogs.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas.
Every time you put a mic in my face, I'm going to say Arkansas.
The John Nabors Show is live from the Natty State Sports Studios.
All right, final segment here on the John Nabors Show. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in. And we got the final segment here, and we'll have some of the funny stories around the land discussed too. I wanted to get to a couple of these comments, though, because people keep asking, it's like, all right, what do I think if Muss stays or goes? Just listen to the beginning of the show. And, you can always go back and listen to the show on YouTube and also on our podcast for platform, Apple, Spotify. I think Amazon even. All those places. So you can go back and listen to it. You can go back and watch it. Just go back and check that out. Promise you won't be disappointed whatsoever. But also, Mr. Bloodline says, John, did you rebrand with the Natty State Sports, or did you go out on your own? I like the name. I wish we could win a Natty, LOL, is what he also says. Well, I didn't rebrand it. It's kind of just was its own thing. Something I thought of years ago. Like back in 2018, 2019, I always kind of liked the idea of calling it Natty State, the natural state of Arkansas. Kind of something that was cool. And I had this vision of wanting to do a vibe that's kind of set up to where you're just a bunch of guys hanging out in a big office doing content. I like that vibe. And it was something I thought about, and I'm glad that it's going awesome, man. It could not be going better. It's going so great because we got a great group here, man. And it's not because of me. It's because of the people around me. Curtis and Scotty and Andrew are the best in the business when it comes to what they do. I know that we all do content in different variety and different ways, but to have the basketball minds of Curtis and Scotty, who both of them are diehard basketball fans, and they're as plugged in, and they got as good of an inside as anybody, and probably better than anybody here in the state of Arkansas when it comes to the basketball team. And then Andrew, of course, in baseball, kills it. He does a phenomenal job in baseball, and is there at every game, watch press conferences. He's a big baseball guy, so. And then we're all football fans. I guess maybe I'm the football guy. Probably not. I'm just the BS artist, as I like to call it. It's like not a broadcaster, not a podcaster, not a anything unique, or it's just like, no, I'm just a BS artist. I take a bunch of crap and I put it together and try to make it entertaining and interesting. So, but the point is, Mr. Bloodline, that no, I did not do anything other than rebranding. This is my own company. I've created this company, and I wanted to kind of get into the future of where media is going, whether it's on social media and on podcasting and YouTube, because there's a lot of success in it and a lot of different ways to make money in it. And we have a great business with a great crew surrounding us. So, but yeah, hopefully that answered your question. All right. So, hey, did y'all see this? Which is a great segment, by the way. It's up for sponsorship for those of you who may or may not be interested. But let's go ahead and go into that. That's not what I wanted here. But do you guys see this? Did you see this right here? This is Anthony Black, former Razorback. Great. Actually, he's in the NBA, and he plays for the Magic. And honestly, it was kind of crazy because one of the players that Arkansas was able to go up against and defeat last season in the NCAA tournament was Kansas with Grady Dick. You guys remember him? He's a really good player last year in college. They're friends and everything, and they decided to do a jersey swap. Did you see the significance here? I'm not going to say it. I know you see it. You can see it not only in the jersey names, but you can also see it in the smirk. That, you know what, eat and grin that Anthony Black's got on his face, because I feel like he absolutely knows. He absolutely knows what's going on there. Outstanding, man. Outstanding. So, but yeah, that was a pretty funny deal going on there. I love Anthony Black, man. Like, that guy was such a fun player to watch, and was really a dude that kind of talk his talk, and usually backed it up. I'll be honest, he usually backed it up, and was able to, make it, let everybody know that it wasn't just out of nowhere or for no reason. Like, he backed up his game and everything. So, but yeah, I love that one. Hopefully that doesn't get me in trouble for posting that. Surely not. People just need to get over it if that is the case. So, yeah, that was so funny. And here's the thing about, like, another thing about Anthony Black real quick is that, Anthony Black is one of those players that needs to be remembered so many by Razorback fans, where it was a crazy time and, wasn't that great of a season, regular season that is, but it was still he's still such a fun player who gave it his all. When there were injuries that were happening, dude was playing like 38 minutes a game, never stopped, kept getting after it. Just the dude that you always wanted to be on your team. So, but yeah, I was a big fan of his, and of course his sense of humor, also thrown into the mix, is something that was also very interesting and entertaining, and was great to see. So, there's something else too when it came to the college the NCAA tournament. And I apologize. I had it right up here to be able to discuss it, so I haven't seen it. I will say that Ohio State finally got their coach, where they had Ohio State drop the interim tag, and Jake Diebler apparently is the head basketball coach. So, yeah. Dalton says, Motorsport says, apparently they fired the Magic. The Magic fired the intern that posted that with Anthony Black and Grady Dick. They better not have. That's dumb. That's dumb. They shouldn't have fired him if that was the case. I mean, come on. Oh, here it is. Okay, found it. I was like, this one was bad, dude. This was so bad. I can't play the video, but y'all will see it and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But like when it came to conference weekends and everything too. Oops, if I don't pitch the wrong thing there. Kent State had a player that forgot the score because they were up 1. He committed a foul, which cost the team their bid to the NCAA tournament. Like, I might be able to get away with this, but I'm going to play it on mute. But anyway, like, you got this going on where Kent State's down by 1 to Akron. He fires it up a shot. They don't get it, but they get the rebound, stick back, 6 seconds to go. Kent State's up 1, and they foul. They fouled. Kent State fouled when they're up 1 with 4.8 seconds to go. And the coach can't believe it. Like, they cannot believe it. I felt so bad for that kid. Like, he just didn't know. Just didn't know, man. You got to be on your toes out here. You got to be on your toes. You got to make it happen. But that was brutal. Brutal ending to that game. And I couldn't imagine also with the NCAA tournament on the line. Like, you win, you're going to the NCAA tournament. It wasn't just like they'll get in, or they'll be an at-large bid. No, like, that was it. You had to do that. You had to take care of business, win that game for you to have a chance at it. And you didn't. That's what you did. You fouled. Ooh. It's rough stuff there, folks. But, hey, that does it for us, though. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in to the John Nabors Show here from Natty State Sports. Be sure to like and subscribe to the show, as well as follow us on our YouTube page and follow us all on our social media. And check out our website, too. It's Slowly But Surely Building, and we're going to have great written content on there, too. Dealing with the transfer portal. Curtis and Sky done a phenomenal job with that. So check it out at NattyStateSports.com, and we're going to keep it moving from there. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon, everybody, folks, have a great rest of your afternoon, and we will see you then.